this with us. So I will start the record. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have in the house Philip Stan, Director of Stan Dental Laboratory, and he will be with us in the next 30 minutes. We don't hope to take more of your time. And you already know we want to see how we can migrate from our usual conventional analog lab to digital lab. What does it take? What are the skills required? What are the tools? What are the materials? These are what Philip Stan will be doing in the next 30 minutes or so. So please welcome Philip Stan as he start his presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be again with you. Hopefully you can see my screen. Dr. Olubulum, you can see my screen?
Your screen, I can see your screen, analog or digital.
So I will start the presentation now. What is this? Wait, wrong button. So what I will try to show you today is it's an introduction and a small comparison between analog and digital, so we can see what are the differences, maybe are there differences, and how can we start. I will not go in detail in any special scanning systems or milling machines or materials, this and that, because we have only a limited time. But we will have 2 more presentations. We will go into that. Okay, let's start then. So the title now we have analog and digital. Will classical dental technology disappear? I know a lot of us are scared. So we have a small intro, and then we will see which way we can go. Options, the analog workflow. We will have a digital workflow, a comparison quick. We will have some numbers, a small conclusion after, and after we are ready for a session. Okay. If you have any questions, I will try to answer. So which way should we go? Actually, many people are scared about the new way because they feel quite comfortable in the workflow they are. So some technicians say digital will kill my job, and others are very happy about it and they want to do everything digital. And now we are in a crossroads. Should we go still the analog way, or maybe we go the digital way? And the question is, do we have to really to make a decision, or can we maybe pick from one side and the other and find our own way? So the options are what we can do. Yeah, we decide between what we need and when we need this. The entry is always to go take a scanner. It could be the dentist or the lab, because if you want to go digital, your models has to be digitalized. So without a scanner, you cannot go anywhere. The next would be a CAD software. CAD software means designing software, for example, Exocad or 3Shape Dental Designer, or from Zerona. They have their own system. There's also Dental Wings, I think, still on the market, and now we have a quite good option, what is very low price, the Blender for Dental. After we need a CAM software. The difference between CAD and CAM is one is for designing, and the other software will transform what we have designed for the machines, what we use after. So if we do milling or printing or a combination of that. The next step would be the milling, the CNC unit, and of course, maybe also a 3D printer. 3D printing is quite new, or let's say not new at all, but in the dental field, it's becoming more and more popular in the last years. So actually the question, can we decide what we need and when? Yes, we can do that. So let's have a look at the analog phase. We have always a dental clinic, and we also have a dental laboratory part. The dental clinic, of course, do the preparation, as we all know, and the impression, silicone or alginate, and most probably a temporary crown or a denture. After comes the dental laboratory part. We have a more model management. We have our designing part. We do a wax up of wax, or for a denture, for example, a setup. And after we have the manufacturing part, that's casting, packing, pouring, or maybe pressing. Depends on what type of restoration we want to do. If we do a crown, then of course we have to cast after. If we do a denture, maybe you pack it in a flask, or you work with silicone overcast, you pour it in, or if you use Emax or something like this, you have to press something. So it's always a way you design first and you manufacture after, and after you finish with grinding, polishing, and layering. So the digital phases are actually very similar because it's based on the same process, but the way we do it, of course, is different. Digital means that we do a lot of things in a virtual space like digital software, but after will be transformed into the real world after. Again, we have the impression it can again be the classical way, a silicone on oil alginate, or of course we can have a 3D intraoral scan. And definitely we need again a temporary crown or a denture, and also this can be done classical way. If it's a crown, you can make a duplication of your pre-op situation and make it a temporary crown. Or of course we can do it digital way also before. Again, laboratory, we have model management. We can decide if we go classical way, if we get impression, or maybe we get a file from a scanner, then we cannot make a model out of plaster. And sometimes we don't even need a model anymore. Design process, again, manufacturing, we have now a milling way. So we subtract something out of a block, or we have a 3D printing way, we additive, so we build something, or we have also nowadays, since 3-4 years, a hybrid way. That means we have a laser sinter process maybe in metal, especially for the telescopic crowns. It's very popular now in metal, and after the precise fit of the secondary part will be done in a milling part. So we have also a hybrid version of the manufacturing now. And again, we have the finishing process. We have to grind on it, polish, or maybe put some porcelain. So in the comparison, actually, there is not a big difference between the analog way and the digital way. Only our tools, what we use, are different. Okay, so we have a model management, the design, the manufacturing, and so on, the same on the digital part. And now we can decide on which level we want to jump in. Most probably you will jump in the designing part, because you get still an impression normally from your dentist, and then you can scan it, design it, and If you have an own manufacturing part, you can do it by yourself, or you just send it out to a colleague. Yeah, this is what also we do with what we did in the beginning. We did everything analog. Also with Zirconia, we did analog with a copy mill. And then after we switched to a scanner, yeah, and a manufacturing part. Let's have some numbers on it. So the costs always in a laboratory are, we have differences between fixed costs and variable costs. Fixed cost means they don't change. They are the same amount in a certain period. For example, your salary, your wages, or the rent for your office. Investments also, if you have a contract some with a bank, you normally have installments. They are always the same costs. And of course, we have fees and subscription, sorry. What are the costs for variable? They are changing depending on your production. That means if you have a high level production, you have lots of grounds to do. You have more utilities, of course, electricity, water. You have materials more. And maybe you have a freelancer who has to come in for a few hours and other services. Okay, so very important to know and to start before you go in any direction in your business. You have to know the numbers of your business, and also you have to do a calculation. It's very, very important. Not only the quality of work or your management of your workflow in dentistry or laboratory, you have to know your number. Calculation in the dental lab is normally based on wages and salaries. The reason for that is that most, or in any manufacturing business, wages and salaries are the highest factor of expense. Many people think the materials and the equipment is the highest investment, but this is not true. Yeah, we will come to that later. But it's based on wages because we are a craftsman business. We do many things by hand. We don't sell just like in a shop a product. We're doing things by our hands. So how can we find out how much wages cost when it's so important? So you have to know what it's based on. You take your yearly wages, maybe you have 12 months salary or 13, and you have additional costs. I asked Dr. Olubolum, how is the salary in Nigeria? And he said, now you start at $300 and you just make it easy. Maybe you are more skilled, you have maybe $500, it's easier to count also. So let's say you have $500 a month salary. You get, maybe you have a good boss where it's very generous and you have 13 months, a 13-month salary. So over the year, you have maybe $6,500. Add wages, maybe 5%. Here in Citrus, for example, we have only 3%, but it took 5 to have it more easier. So this is the total cost for a technician per year salary. Not included any laboratory costs or something. We just look at now this. What another important is, of course, the working time. So maybe we have always the same time. We have 365 days a year. If you take off the weekends, if you take off your vacation, your public holidays, your sick leave maybe, you have a total working time of 215 days a year. When you have 8 working hours, your work hours are 1,720. So now we go down on the minutes. Working time per year was the cost wages was $6,825. Working hours have been 1,720. It comes then per cost per hour for 397 cents, and per minute it will be 66 cents. Why is this important? Because you need to know the costs of your product, how you do it manually now, and how also later your machining cost will be. Of course, you will replace machining cost with the wages, so you also then get the machining cost per minute. And you need to know, am I with my competitors, can I do this work or not? Maybe you get the quote, can you do a crown for $30 or $20? You need to know if you can do this or not. And it gives you a controlling about your process. Let's jump into digital world. We will come back to the numbers later again. What do we need? We definitely need a scanner. Like I said in the beginning, because we have to bring our analog models into the digital world. There are tons of different scanners out there. You have to decide by yourself what your requirements are, and of course it depends on your budget. I always suggest go for an open scanner what is creating open files like an STL or an OBJ file. OBJ file you have when you have a color scan. So if you have colors in your scan, you will get also OBJ files. Okay, something is wrong, you know, with my tool here.
Please go on and don't mind all those writing I'm seeing.
Wait. Let me, here something happened here. I don't know what happened. Let me just go quick to it. Maybe
It is not at your end. Could you go on with the presentation?
something happened there. Where was I? Here. So we have been there. Can happen some. So we have been here. We need definitely a scanner. If you don't have a scanner, you cannot do digital. But maybe your dentist has one and you send your files, then you definitely need a CAD software. And of course, you need an internet connection. You need later a CAM software to transform our designs in the machine language so our mill or printer can put this file into the real world. Mostly will then have a CNC milling unit. If you do zirconia, you need definitely a sintering furnace. You cannot use a normal porcelain furnace. It will not reach the temperature you need. We are sintering between 1,400 and 1,500 degrees Celsius. No normal porcelain furnace can do that. And the sintering time can be up to 9 hours. Yeah. And if you want also a 3D printer, why not? Yeah, we have different 3D printers out there. It can be a printer with filament or with a resin. It can be metal printer. Yeah, depends all on your budgets. And definitely we have consumables. The same in the analog world, we need wax or blanks, materials, milling bars, and so on. So how can we start? Like I said, you need a scanner, definitely. You need a CAD software, and you need PC hardware. You cannot just pull any laptop from the market and say, let's go. It will not work. My suggestion is go for a gaming laptop, and it doesn't have to be the latest one. If your laptop is maybe 2 or 3 years old and has requirements like an Intel iCore i7, you need definitely, and you need a proper dedicated graphics card like an NVIDIA RTX. Yeah, don't go for Ryzen, or Ryzen can work. The Ryzen AMD Ryzen processors work now from the last year Excel card version on. But if you look at graphics cards, please stick with NVIDIA. And of course, you need an internet connection because you need updates. You need to send files somewhere, or you have to receive files. The next step would be a milling unit. Yeah, for example, this is the Dent D15. I have, for example, this machine. Yeah, and normally this milling machine, your comes with the CAM software. There are different models on the market. You get 4-axis machines and 5-axis machines. The differences are what you can do with five axis. You have more options to mill undercuts and more complex strategies. I choose, for example, internet machines because they are open. They are not bonded to any manufacturing. I can put any STL file on there what I want to. I can use MicaCam, what comes with the software, what comes with the machine. But if you want to use another CAM software, it's possible. You even can change the tool pockets. If you don't like 4mm tools, it can be 6mm tools or 3mm tools. You can go from dry to wet and so on. So it's a very flexible system. Yeah, and of course you need again consumables, milling tools, and blanks. Definitely a sintering furnace, like we mentioned. Optional, of course, if you want to go in a 3D printing, this is, for example, the AccuFab D1 printer. It's a DLP printer. It's not the cheapest one, but it's very reliable. And you need a curing unit for curing the resin, and you need resins, different kinds for models, for dentures, for night guards, for example, or trays. Lots of options are there. So my conclusion is, what are my benefits? Why should I go into digital dentistry? As we have seen before, the labor costs are at 66 cents a minute. So let's say a technician can make maybe 4 to 6 crowns completely a day. I have calculated before, normally if you have all the working process calculated from the model, articulation, preparing, you have excuse me, if please everybody can switch off the microphone. It's kind of annoying to hear noises. We can have questions after, please. So if any of your manual process can be substituted by the digital way, what will it be? You can gain efficiency because if your equipment is precisely calibrated. For example, this morning I made a coping in wax. It takes only 8 minutes to mill a coping in wax. And if you have 20 or 30 units a day coming in, the machine will mill it out. You can wax everything on your wing and cast it overnight or something like this. And in the meantime, the machine is milling something, you can do something else. The precision of these units will be much higher than the manual way. And on top of that, if everything is calibrated correctly, it will be always the same. So you gain a high potential of efficiency. You can design your dentures, your crowns, in a way you never can do this by hand. You see exactly what you get on your screen, and you can send this out on your WhatsApp, for example, what I do for clients. Hey, look at my design. Can you please confirm it or not? Then the most part, what I just also mentioned before, you can transform the fixed labor cost, what you have, into a variable. Because if you want to mill a crown and you don't have a milling machine, somebody else can do this. Or if you don't have the design option to do a chrome denture, you just scan the model, you send it out to someone who can do this for you and print, or a company prints the metal, you get the fixed chrome ready-made back. Yeah, for example, in Germany, you get a chrome denture fixed ready for around 80 euros. You just send it out, you have it next day. Yeah, and you don't get this position handmade, no way. What will you do with new materials if you stay in the Analogue way? How you want to do zirconia? How do you want to do nano hybrid composites? It's not possible by hand, not possible. New solutions will be out there. We have face scanners. We can do implant planning. We can show the patient, this is what you get when you work with me. And so you can print, for example, a setup model, and you can show it to the patient. This is your smile in 2 weeks. A liner, if you do clear liner, you also can do the same. You can do a planning digitally, and then after you send this to your client, look at my design, can you confirm it? Or you print the final setup of your teeth and show it to the patient. Hey, this is what you get. It's the same like if you would buy a car, you make a test drive before. You don't just buy it out of the catalog. It will give you more potential clients, and you are more reliable to your as a partner for your dentist, because the dentist needs a reliable partner. What dentists want to have is that you deliver always the same quality. The problem with quality is that it's no guarantee what quality. Some people say quality is, for example, a Mercedes-Benz, and somebody say, no, Toyota is fine with me, or some Chinese car. Quality has no standard. Everybody has a different meaning of quality. But what your dentist wants to have, if they send you a crown, I want to have an expectation on it. So they expect always the same standard. The same like you expect from your dentist, the same standard of preparation, the same standard of impression, and the digital way can help you a lot with that. So actually now, the first part, I made it short, is just an introduction on why you should go in. The part 2, what we will have in 2 days, will be the real thing. We will enter into digital. We will talk about 3D scanners. What kind of 3D scanners are out there? What do we need? I will talk about ExoCAD basic settings and basic design, and we have 3 real cases going on. We will have a crown, an anterior crown. We will have a molar crown, and I will show you how we do a flexible denture digitally. Yeah, we have 2 ways to do that. We can do it completely digital from an intraoral scan, or we scan our model and go from there. It's like Lego, like if you know these little stones, what your kids put together, it's actually after the same thing. So if you have any questions to me, please call it to in the chat, or Dr. Olubonum will tell me what it is, so we can go over that. Please welcome now all questions.
Thank you so much, Philip Stan. And yeah, we were expecting questions from the chat, but we couldn't get any so far, except one that just came in now. And the question is from Joshua Olatinwo. And he said, you said what we need to start. PC hardware, please, how about if I don't have latest PC? How do I go about that?
Yeah, what I did, for example, I went on eBay or something, and I bought a designing laptop. Not the latest model. It was a laptop. It was around 400 or 450 euros, and it served me for the first 2 years. Okay, it has not the strongest graphic card. What you should need, you need an i7, iCore i7 Intel processor, definitely, and you need a graphics card. It could be a Quadro or a GeForce NVIDIA RTX, minimum 2 GB. Yeah, it can be 3, 4, 5 years old. It doesn't matter really, but you need a certain amount of power. And if you have and you can afford it, put an SSD hard drive in there, because it will make everything quicker. Yeah, I have a client, for example, they have an 8th generation Intel i7. They have a small gaming card in there, not the newest one, and it works. It didn't cost much. Yeah? Laptop has a problem that you cannot upgrade, and mostly PCs are cheaper. So that's it. Yeah.
Thanks so much. I think there's a question that we have to wait for next session. And that question is from one Abdullahi Jafar Salanke. Say, how do I design a molar crown? I think that will go in for our designing section on Wednesday.
Yes, we'll do this next week. I have prepared
this Wednesday.
Cases.
It will be
on Wednesday, same time. Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
same time.
I think on Wednesday we will need a bit more time than a half an hour, but we will try. I will try to do as quick as possible. We will not actually go through the whole designing process. I have made a lot of screenshots, so we can go step by step how it's done. Because if we do a designing case in real time, we will exceed our 30 minutes. It will not be possible.
Then I would rather suggest that maybe if you can spare us time, because I know you are very busy. Sparing this time for us is a lot of sacrifice on your side. And so maybe if that scanning, I mean, the next section of Wednesday, could be put in 2 sessions. But if it's not possible, just within the short time.
What we can do is that we maybe do a crown session on Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay.
So we do, let's say we do an anterior crown and a molar.
Okay.
Yeah, just or maybe I have an anterior crown with a small bridge in the anterior. I have to see. But and then we can see how far we get, and we just put some screenshots after, maybe for the flexible denture.
Okay, that's fine. I think because this is a break time, many of us are busy at work and we want to quickly return. And I know it's your busy time too. So we will be ending the session now. And those questions that are already here will be harvested for next session. Like I did say, if we can make it within a short 30 minutes time, that would be fantastic. And that will be fine. I thank everybody that attended this session. We're 52 in number, and that's a good number for us. And Wednesday, 17th of November, we shall be coming up the same time again. Philip Stam, you want to say something so we can conclude?
Yes, also you can contact me on Facebook or on WhatsApp if you like. Yeah, my numbers are there. So if you have further questions, I will try to answer, or also on email addresses. You will find this all on my website or on the Facebook pages. But please don't send me any junk or whatever. Yeah, just be fair with each other and serious.
So we have to leave now. So thanks everybody that came, and thanks Philip Stan. We end the session now. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye bye everyone. Bye.
Bye bye.
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 Thank you very much, Mr. Philip Stan. Thank you very much, Dr. Lubodun, for this.
Okay, thanks so much.
Good afternoon.